Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinema Chazzy, the segment on this channel where I review the movies that I watch. You know, I'm pretty sure it's obvious even if you're new, and if you've been around here for a while, you pretty much know how this segment works at this point, you know. And I'm going to say right off the bat, yes, I am very well aware that I have been absent for a while on this platform. I know I've been gone for a good minute, you know. It's just, if you follow me on Twitter, you already know what's been going on. My personal life has been chaos these past few weeks, you know. Way too many things to do, you know, and so little time. So I haven't had time to do YouTube, and even when I did have the time, I had literally zero energy, you know. I couldn't will myself to get back to it, you know. But the more content creators that I consume, the more videos that I watch, and the more that I look back on my channel, I figured, you know what, I have to come back. I can't stay away for too long, you know. I have a mission to get to 800 videos, you know, and then later 900 still before the year is over. So I just gotta come back, you know. And because today I have time, I have a very rare moment of silence here without any neighbors talking loud or dogs barking or this and that, you know. So, and the sun is out, hopefully the lighting looks okay behind me. So I just figured, you know what the heck, let's get back into it here, you know, like nothing ever happened. So anyway, about today's video. Recently, at this point, probably several weeks ago, I reviewed the original Space Jam in 1996, you know, starring Michael Jordan, and today I am finally going to be giving you guys the sequel, which is Space Jam: A New Legacy, released in 2021, starring, of course, LeBron James, the Michael Jordan of a modern era for NBA fans, you know. This movie did really well. In my opinion, it was really entertaining, but it does not hold a candle to the original, as most sequels tend to, well, not do, you know. It was still very cool, very nice, and, you know, the special effects, the CGI, you know, everything came together to make a very interesting blend of cinematic magic, you know. But still, there are a few areas that I think it lacked, you know, in terms of, like, you know, overall story, plot, character development, but it was still very cool. And basically the plot now is, of course, the Looney Tunes. By the way, this is the very first appearance of the Looney Tunes in a motion feature-length picture, you know, ever since Looney Tunes Back in Action in 2003. So it was a very long-awaited return, you know, to the silver screen for these characters that we know and love so much. And they now again need help to win yet another basketball game, you know, because now everything is a little different, because they are going into this Warner Bros. Theme multiverse, you know, because now apparently LeBron James' character, well, not his character, right? He plays himself in the movie, right? His son is actually abducted, you know, and by this rogue artificial intelligence called AI, or algorithm, you know. He was abducted by him, and so he needs the Looney Tunes help to go and save him, but of course they need to play the basketball game so he can actually get his son back in his freedom, you know. So it's actually really interesting, and I like the idea of setting things now in a more modern technological setting, you know, with artificial intelligence and a lot of virtual avatars. And, you know, like I said before, the special effects were very, very impressive. I really enjoyed them a lot. The movie itself did pretty well, you know. It had a budget of $150 million and went on to gross $162.8 million, you know. So I think it did pretty well, if I do say so myself, you know. Very nice to see LeBron coming back and representing, you know, the NBA basketball nation, you know. Although his acting coach wasn't as good as Michael Jordan's acting coach, but I actually think LeBron acted better than Jordan did, you know, because LeBron has more experience than Michael Jordan in acting. He does appear in a few movies and sometimes TV shows, you know. He does have acting experience, and although he wasn't really too convincing in Space Jam, it was still a lot better than Jordan's performance, you know, because Jordan cannot act to save his life, man. I'm sorry. But anyway, so before I continue and get into the actual nitty-gritty of the plot and whatnot and know the elements, let's take a look at a clip from the movie right here.
Welcome to the space.
Welcome, King James.
I am the king of this domain.
This is the Serververse.
What'd you do to my son? Where's Dom?
The only way you're getting your son back is if you and I play a little basketball. Pete, send this clown to the rejects.
Wait.
Oh yeah, baby, welcome to the Space Jam again. But anyway, so basically the movie starts off with a young LeBron getting a Game Boy from a friend back in '98, you know, and he's focusing more on playing the actual video game than basketball. His coach, of course, berates him for it because the team loses, this and that. So it leads to this thing where LeBron discards gaming altogether and becomes a basketball player. Years down the road, he has kids, one of which is an aspiring basketball player, but also one who is a video game developer, you know. He's actually making his own basketball video game. Unfortunately, he hasn't worked out the kinks yet because there's a glitch where one of the characters tries to do a special move, but then it glitches out and the game freezes and stops working, you know, it crashes. Very frustrating, and this does play into it a little bit further down the road, you're gonna see when I get there. So then they go to the Warner Bros. Studio to have a meeting for a film deal, you know, and LeBron does not like the idea presented to create a virtual avatar of himself, you know, so he berates it, and then Al G, you know, the AI, gets really pissed, and that's what kickstarts the events of the movie, you know, where LeBron abducts his son, brings him into the multiverse, and then LeBron himself, they have a little discussion, you know, and then he says that for him to get his son back, he needs to win a basketball game, so he banishes him to the Toon World where he becomes a cartoon immediately, you know, the cartoon figs apply to him, you know. It's actually very well done, you know. This is how I said that the CGI was better than in the original, you know. They made LeBron into a cartoon character, and it was freaking awesome, you know. It looked really good. So then he does find Bugs Bunny in a very abandoned place, you know. He's the only Looney Tunes left, so he recruits Bugs Bunny to help him, but Bugs actually has to go into different worlds in the Warner Bros. Multiverse and try to get his friends back, you know, because every single world in the multiverse corresponds to a Warner Bros. Property, you know. So we have, for example, you know, Harry Potter, and what else does Warner Bros. Have, bro? I don't even know. I don't even know. Is it gonna say it here? Does it say here, you know, because I legitimately don't know. I forgot, man. But there are well, the things that Warner Bros. Have done, you know, they correspond to different worlds, you know, they're different intellectual properties, you know. So anyway, they do get the characters back, you know, and they are trying to use they want to have fun with it. They want to use their cartoon physics to play the game of basketball, but LeBron wants to teach them the actual fundamentals of the game, you know. I'm getting a phone call, but I don't care. Wrong number. So he tries to teach them that, and they do start to have a little rift there. They kind of start to argue a little bit, you know, and it's actually kind of funny how it works, you know, because there are clearly differing sides of the spectrum here, you know. And meanwhile, Al G, you know, he tries to convince LeBron's son Dom to get onto his side, you know, by fixing his game, you know, and helping him to upgrade and become a very powerful character, you know. So they kind of bond over that, which makes sense. An artificial intelligence and a video game developer, of course, they're gonna get along, you know. So then Dom actually does join his squad. We have eventually two different squads, which is the Toon Squad, which is LeBron and the Looney Tunes, and the Goon Squad, which is Al G and his avatars and Dom, you know. And then eventually, you know, while they are in the Serververse, they do start to practice basketball a little bit, you know. LeBron at first is very, it's really hard for you to, you know, for LeBron to take them seriously, and vice versa, you know. But anyway, eventually they do come to a head, you know, where the game is actually going to begin, and Al G puts out the ultimatum that he is going to, you know, they have to win the game for his son's freedom, and everybody can go back to their world, you know, because he abducts several characters from different worlds, and also the real world. So LeBron's wife and his kids, you know, they're also taken there as spectators. So there are so like hundreds or thousands of characters. Even the Iron Giant comes in, you know. So it's really awesome how that works. And you know, all of the characters are there going to watch the game, and then Al G sends out this ultimatum that if LeBron wins, he'll get his son back and everybody goes home, but if he loses, everybody who was there watching the game is going to become prisoners in the Serververse forever. I do believe that's what happens, you know. Yep, that's it right here. He's going to imprison them permanently. So yes, and then after all of that, finally, the basketball game starts. But before that, yet another clip over here for you guys to see.
What is this? Ah! I'm a cartoon?
Meh. What's up, Doc?
I need to assemble an elite team to help get my son back.
I know what you're looking for. A dream team. Bam! Shoot the ball! Let's try that again, shall we?
Okay, now let's get to the grand finale, huh? So the Goon Squad is comprised of different characters, no different villains, and that are actually based off of basketball players in real life, you know. So for example, we have the Brow, who's this big blue bird with giant wings, based on Anthony Davis, who does play with LeBron and the Lakers in real life. There's White Mamba, and there's also Chrono. White Mamba is kind of like this serpentine thing, this giant snake, kind of like a Medusa kind of thing, you know. Very annoying in the Space Jam game, which I did play. I finished at this point, you know, and that was a very annoying boss fight. Then there's Kronos, this freaking written, you know, like this really hard to predict robot. You know, he's gold-plated and he can manipulate time and stuff. It's really hard. You know, he's actually voiced by Damian Lillard, who plays for the Portland Trailblazers, I believe. Then there's a character played by Klay Thompson. You know, I think it's Wet. What was again? Wetback, Wet Fire. Just let me check it real quick, guys. I think it was, yes, Wet Fire, an elemental member, you know. Then there's Arachneka, a red and black member who's like this giant spider, you know. So yeah, there are a few different characters, you know. So the game starts and the Goon Squad leads very well into the first half, you know. LeBron and the Looney Tunes are having difficulty playing with each other, you know. But then eventually LeBron does, he realizes, you know, the error of his ways and just lets them have fun and use their cartoon physics to play the game. You know, at this point they have all been converted. LeBron has gone back to his live action form and the Looney Tunes have become CGI, you know, three-dimensional, so they look really good. The animation here just is stellar, you know. If there's one good thing about the Space Jam sequel, it's the special effects, man. The animation department really like hit it out of the park with this one. So yeah, and then seeing how they're having fun now and embracing more of this less serious side, Dom starts to change his mind and wants to go play with them and his dad, you know, which eventually he does, much to Al G's, you know, chagrin. But eventually, you know, they do start playing better and better, and despite having a few setbacks, you know, because this game is not like a regular basketball game, you know, because you can get style points by doing different kinds of things, you know, different kinds of dunks and shots and getting power-ups and stuff, you know. So the Goon Squad are lead, but then the Tunes eventually start to catch up a little bit, you know. Now, here's the thing. Al G eventually uses his abilities to strengthen the Goon Squad, but then there is one little detail, you know. Remember back at the beginning of the movie where Dom was making his game, but there was a glitch that if a character does a specific move, which is like a fadeaway jump shot, then it's going to, that character is going to glitch out and the game will crash. Well, they remember that, and so LeBron volunteers to do it, and he's going to, but then Bugs Bunny takes the ball and does it at the last minute, you know. So then Bugs Bunny glitches out and the game crashes, which actually allows Al G to, it forces Al G to glitch out himself so he can't move, you know, and that's when LeBron James goes in for the winning dunk, you know. Very good iconic moment in the series, just like Michael Jordan's original stretchy arm dunk, you know, to win the game. So that was very impressive as well. Really cool. And of course, after that happens, everything goes back to normal. Everybody goes home, you know, and Al G is defeated and this and that. And then Bugs Bunny reconciles, you know, with his friends before he's deleted from the Serververse, you know. That was a pretty sad moment, I'll admit. That was a very... Man, it just kind of sucks, you know. I really didn't want that to happen at all, but that's just how it is. I'm trying to look here at my little cheat sheet, seeing if I can find anything else to say, but nope. That's... nothing. Everybody goes back to the real world, you know. Everybody's saved and this and that. So yeah, a week later, you know, eventually LeBron respects Dom's wishes and lets him go to E3 game design camp, you know. So that's a very touching moment there between father and son. And then it shows that Bugs Bunny is alive. He's there in the real world after being regenerated because he was a cartoon character in the game or something, you know. The cartoon physics allowed him to regenerate. That was actually what the movie says there. And then he and his friends also entered the real world, so all of the other Looney Tunes are there as well. And then LeBron offers to let them stay at his place for a while. You know, you're gonna, you know, he allows them to temporarily move in with him, so it's all good. There's somebody at my gate. I don't know who it is, but I'm just kind of ignoring him right now. But anyway, yes. So before I continue, you know, let's take a look at another clip here.
King James. Welcome to
The Space Jam.
introducing the Goon Squad.
Okay, so we're almost done here. The final stretch now. Let's keep going. So unfortunately, this movie wasn't well received by critics. You know, they actually thought it was kind of unamusing in that it was just a lot of gratuitous product placement for Warner Bros.'s, you know, intellectual properties, which I have now. Now I have them here listed off for you guys. You know, remember how I said it was just Harry Potter? Well, it was also Game of Thrones, Mad Max, The Matrix, Casablanca, The Wizard of Oz, King Kong, The Iron Giant, Smallfoot, Rick and Morty, Austin Powers, Mortal Kombat, Hanna-Barbera, and the DC universe. And there were also a few references to the predecessor, you know, the Space Jam, you know, and there was one very cool moment, you know, in all of these properties that I mentioned were the worlds earlier, how I said, you know, so it's, and the characters who showed up for the basketball game, it was actually really nice and lukewarm. There was one very interesting reference to the original Space Jam in the movie, you know, when they are taking a break at halftime, you know, and then Sylvester the cat, he goes out and says, hey, I found Michael Jordan. I brought back Michael Jordan to help us, you know. So then we think it's going to be actually Michael Jordan, man, you know, and all of the Looney Tunes get excited, you know, and even LeBron gets up like, hey, it's MJ. He gets really excited to see Michael Jordan, but then you see it's actually Michael B. Jordan, the actor. that was like my favorite moment in the entire movie, man, you know. He got the wrong Michael Jordan. Oh my god, I mean, hey, he wasn't wrong though. He did get Michael Jordan, right? His parents must have been real big fans of MJ, the basketball player, because oh my god, I love that moment so much. LeBron's like, man, it's Michael B. Jordan. But anyway, so it was actually nominated for 4 Golden Raspberry Awards, 3 of which it won, you know, and also one of them was Worst Actor for James, which I think was really unfair, because for starters, LeBron James is not an actor, he is an athlete in a movie portraying himself, so the very simple fact that he could be nominated for and win any award is really unfair to me. It makes no sense, you know. How can an athlete take a Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Actor? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, now my dad is calling me. Oh boy, he's probably gonna bring my lunch over. So anyway, let's get back to it, you know. The idea of a Space Jam sequel began as early as the late 90s after the success of the first one, you know. They wanted to do a sequel with a different basketball game, but unfortunately Michael Jordan didn't agree to sign up for one, you know, so it just stayed that way for many years, you know, and they were considering doing different athletes, you know. They wanted to get Jeff Gordon, who's a stock car racer, Tony Hawk, the skater, you know, and also Tiger Woods, the golfer, you know. Fun fact, at one point they were considering doing a Space Jam with Tony Hawk called Skate Jam, which is a very, very cool moniker. I would have loved to watch that movie, man. It would have been really cool, you know. But of course, then again, Space Jam doesn't really have it's associated now unanimously with basketball. It's very synonymous with that sport, you know. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, all those players, you know. So it's really hard to make a different Space Jam that's not about basketball. And honestly, if you were to make a third Space Jam, there are so many players that you could use, man, you know. And as the years go on, technology gets better and better, so the movies can look much better as well, you know. Who knows, maybe now you can make one with Steph Curry or something, you know, or maybe somebody who's, you know, just as popular as LeBron James right now or will be in the future, you know. But anyway, yeah, so then production began, you know, in 2019, you know, I think during the off season or the end of the regular season in the NBA, so LeBron could have more time. He did go on to say that he was a big fan of the original Space Jam. As a kid growing up in Akron, Ohio, he did watch it and was very inspired by it, you know. So I'm pretty sure it was a dream come true for him to star in the sequel all these years later. And of course, then the COVID hit, but it actually didn't affect filming too much because the vast majority of the movie was CGI anyway, you know, and a lot of it was filmed in closed, controlled environments, so the pandemic, I don't believe, affected production too much, you know, and the special effects division, Industrial Light and Magic, or ILM, was hired to create the special effects, you know, and it was actually the second collaboration between ILM and the Looney Tunes since Who Framed Roger Rabbit way back in 1988, you know, so very cool little tidbit of info there. And it was a nice movie, man. I actually liked it a lot. Everything came together to really create something cool, you know, and it actually didn't work. It didn't take as long as it did for this movie to be produced in the first one, you know. I thought it was really entertaining, and okay, so it doesn't really hold a candle to the original, that's true, you know, but because it took so long to be created, you know, from 2014 onward, production began. Then in 2015, you know, they were talking about hiring screenwriters, and in 2016 there was the script, and in 2018 production began, 2019 this and that. A whole lot of stuff happened, you know, in that decade there. So I really appreciate Warner Bros. Trying to give us this sequel, you know, because there was a lot of hype for it. I am one that I was very, very excited to see, you know, because I'm such a fan of the original. And if I had to give this movie a rating, I would ultimately give it an 8 out of 10 because it was not perfect. perfect, you know, very far from it. But at the same time, you know, it felt good to see LeBron, you know, gracing the silver screen again, and this time representing the Toon Squad once again, the Looney Tunes, you know, back in action again. You know, it was really nice, but it did have its flaws, you know. I thought that the plot was very threadbare, you know, the character development was very, very weak, you know, and LeBron is not an actor, so it was really hard for him to convince me what of the characters, you know, motivations, this and that, you know. But it was very nostalgic. It was good seeing the Looney Tunes again, now in glorified modern day CGI, you know. It was great seeing LeBron, who's my favorite actor, you know. There's really no, because dude, it's Space Jam, it's Looney Tunes, you know, it's LeBron James, my favorite NBA player right now, so there's really no way that you can go wrong with this, you know. But it wasn't perfect. I can't let my favoritism be biased and let me be biased, so ultimately it's 8 out of 10, and that is my rating. That has been my review for Space Jam, guys, New Legacy. I hope you liked it, you know. Hopefully it came out just as good as the original review, you know, and I'm going to be leaving a link to the original review, you know, for the first one in the title card here. And after I did the Space Jam review, I did a little mini documentary about Michael Jordan and his legacy, you know, and I will be doing the same thing, you know, regarding LeBron James in the next one, so stay tuned because it will literally be the next video, okay? So hopefully it's gonna come out just as well as the first one, okay? So that's it, guys. If you happen to, oh, by the way, if you haven't seen Space Jam: A New Legacy yet, spoiler alert. I'm not even gonna bother to say this at the beginning of the videos, man, because it's a movie review. There will obviously be spoilers, and I usually go into a lot of detail regarding the plot, so it's all good. Watch it at your own discrepancy. If you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell too to know exactly what time I upload, And it's all good, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys. No, sorry. Yeah, I think that's it. Subscribe. I said it's been a while since I recorded, so I forgot how my outro works. Okay, this subscribers every day. Okay, that's it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the final clip and then the outro screen.
You gotta win this game
Let's end this.
Got you, Priime.
and get our son back.
Classic.
Welcome to the Space Jam.